watch Chris Cuomo over on CNN, you may have wondered, how'd this guy get a TV show? Sure, he's got well-defined abdominal muscles, and good for him, but he can barely speak English. There are nights when Cuomo emits entire paragraphs that mean nothing at all, just pure gibberish, like pig Latin or dogs barking. It's kind of remarkable. Was this guy educated in the United States? Let's check Wikipedia. Wait a second. The entry says that Chris Cuomo went to Yale University in Connecticut. That can't be right. Yale has famously high admission standards. Your kids couldn't get into Yale, no chance. They'd have to be incredibly smart. Geniuses, really. Is Chris Cuomo a secret genius? Does he have some amazing talent that's invisible on television? Maybe he speaks flawless Urdu. Maybe he has a deep grounding in particle physics. Perhaps he can calculate pi to the final digit. Actually, no. Chris Cuomo can't do any of that. It turns out he has an even more impressive qualification. His father was the governor of New York. If you want to get into a top American college, it's best to have a parent who's a well-known Democratic politician. That's the most effective credential of all. And don't take our word for it. Ask Dante de Blasio, the son of Bill de Blasio, the incompetent mayor of New York City. There's no evidence that the younger de Blasio did remarkably well in high school, and yet, like Chris Cuomo, he somehow got into Yale. Once there, Dante de Blasio found himself surrounded by people just like himself, the thoroughly average children of other prominent liberals. According to press reports, that would include the offspring of at least 3 Democrats currently serving in the U.S. Senate: Michael Bennet, Amy Klobuchar, and Sheldon Whitehouse. All of them sent kids to Yale. Did you? No, but they did. Their colleague Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, meanwhile, is one of a stunning number of Senate Democrats who have sent children to Harvard University. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey is a Harvard parent. So is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Schumer sent both his kids to Harvard. Barack Obama sent one of his. So did former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer. The all-time record, though, must go to former Vice President Al Gore. Al Gore sent 4. Imagine that. 4 kids in a row to Harvard. What are the odds of that occurring in nature? Well, statistically, it's about as likely as getting hit by lightning every single day for a year. And yet somehow the Gore family pulled it off. Congratulations, Gore family. Andrew Cuomo, the sitting governor of New York, sent one of his kids to Harvard, but the other 2 went to Brown. That's also an Ivy League university that your kids could never get into. Brown is, as they say, highly selective, at least for the children of non-politicians. But for pure 200-proof exclusivity, nothing beats Stanford University outside San Francisco. You could live your entire life in this country and never meet a single person who went to Stanford. It's that rarefied. And yet here's the amazing part. Hillary Clinton's daughter breezed right in. How did Chelsea do that? Was it her formidable brain power? Well, you can check out her Twitter feed and judge for yourself. Now, there's a chance that Chelsea is intentionally misleading us. It's possible that her entire public persona is a kind of performance art, a subversive Borat-style parody of mindless lifestyle liberalism. If that's the case, Chelsea Clinton is utterly brilliant. She's the Jonathan Swift of our time. But it's also possible that Chelsea isn't joking at all. It's possible, indeed, it's even probable, that she is every bit as dull and self-serious as she appears to be. In that case, not only is Chelsea Clinton profoundly sub-brilliant, you've got to wonder how she holds a paying job. How did someone like that get into Stanford? You might have the same question about some of the kids at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Georgetown's alumni magazine is available online, so next time you've got a second free, take a look. You'll recognize many of the names inside: Biden, Pelosi, Kennedy. These are the children of famous Democratic politicians. Are they impressive, hardworking kids who deserve to be at one of this country's most prestigious universities? Possibly, maybe some of them, maybe not. Doesn't matter. In fact, it's irrelevant. They're the offspring of prominent Democrats. That's the point, and that's why they're at Georgetown. So how does this happen? Well, it happens because our meritocracy is a sham. It's fake. They tell you that only the most accomplished students get into these schools, but they're lying. Their friends' kids get first dibs, fellow members of their social circle, kids whose families can help them down the road. The children of sympathetic politicians are an obvious priority for admissions officers. These are the same politicians who funnel billions in tax dollars to colleges and universities every year. So letting a senator's kid into Harvard is just smart business. The quid pro quo is obvious. It's a kind of unregulated lobbying. Remember the varsity blues scandal in California where a group of socially anxious soccer moms tried to game the college admission system? Well, this is far more corrupt than that, except that nobody's going to prison for it. So how many Chris Cuomos get into Yale every year? It'd be nice to know, but we don't know. Like almost everything about higher education, it's opaque. Prestigious schools can pretend that they admit only the most qualified applicants because nobody can prove otherwise. The real admissions numbers are secret. They're hidden from public view, even though we pay for those schools because all of them take massive amounts in tax dollars. Elite colleges are like public companies that lie about their balance sheets. They're cooking the books to defraud shareholders. In this case, the shareholders are the entire country. A handful of elite schools form the gateway to success in America. If you go to Harvard, you're all but guaranteed to make more money over the course of your life than someone who didn't go to Harvard. It's that simple. And so when you rig the admissions system, what you're really rigging is American society. You're creating an impenetrable class system for your own benefit. And that's exactly what they're doing. You often hear progressives say that they worry about income inequality. They don't mean it at all. How do you know they don't mean it? Because if the left really cared about the stratification of American society, they would make college admissions transparent. They'd force Stanford, for example, to open the books and show the rest of us how exactly they're assembling this year's freshman class. That's what they'd do. And yet Democrats in Congress haven't done that and won't do that. They seem strangely incurious about how the process works, like they don't really want to know all the details. In fact, they already know precisely how the admissions game works, and they strongly approve. Why wouldn't they approve? Their kids are benefiting from it.